Today, we are going to go over receiving of raw materials and ingredients into a food manufacturing facility in under 5 minutes. Receiving is where everything gets started. Starting this process on the wrong foot will really mess with things down the line. So we're going to go over 4 major things that we should be looking for when receiving in raw materials, such as cross-contamination and cross-contact, food defense, inventory, and other quality assurance and food safety documentation. Whether it be terrorists or disgruntled employees, raw material receiving is an opportunity for anyone that wants to cause harm by contaminating your food. Stopping this from occurring is food defense. First thing you want to check is if the seal, padlock, or temper evident tape is still intact. Also, were you expecting this delivery in the first place? Does the driver have proper identification on them? And is there anything suspicious such as unknown powders or damage to containers? One major category in receiving raw materials is making sure that there's no cross-contamination or no cross-contact of allergens. When you receive an ingredient, the first thing you do after breaking the seal or taking off the lock is usually involuntary. It's the smell of the transport vessel. This is an early indicator of hygienic conditions, and dairy powders are infamous for being great absorbers of all sorts of smells. It's also great to check for absence of moisture, such as condensation, standing water, or water damage on containers, the structural integrity of the transport vessel, evidence of pest activity, foreign material issues, such as metal shavings, mysterious powders, lots of wood chips, pallet integrity, such as defective boards or nails that are puncturing product, as well as overall cleanliness. If you see any of these things, you don't want that material unloaded on your dock. For raw ingredient receiving, inventory is also an important aspect to think about. The first place you should look is the bill of lading. Check the name of the product, see if that matches the BOL. Check the quantity received versus what's actually documented. Packaging materials are at higher risk not to match. Any discrepancy here will affect recall capability later in processing. Also, make sure that the lot number matches what's on the BOL for the same exact reasons. Some products will need additional documentation if they are on the food traceability list. Lastly, you got to make sure that you have good quality assurance and food safety documentation. First on this list is temperature control documentation, making sure that you're measuring the temperature of the product when it came in, as well as the cooling unit temperature. Allergen labeling. Verify that the raw material coming in does not declare any allergens that aren't supposed to be in your facility. Also, proper allergen labeling will affect where this item is stored. All materials should be coming in from approved suppliers that have been vetted for quality and food safety standards. Certificates of analysis are just a snapshot of some microbial and physical tests completed. Some ingredients in your plant will be added post-pasteurization, which means that you are depending on your supplier to control the microbial hazard. SUAs are documentation of that occurring. Other documentation to check would be if there's an SDS sheet, kosher certificate, halal certificate, GMO verified certificate, and many others. Other miscellaneous documentation may include things like product descriptions, lot code explanations, and other key data elements if the product is on the food traceability list. Not only do we have to be mindful of all the things we discussed previously, but we have to document that we're actually checking for these on every single load. So documenting that the seal is intact and that the numbers match the BOL, checking for various things in cross-contamination, if they're approved suppliers, if the product temperature is in range, and many other things. Once this documentation is completed, it must be verified by a PCQI or a qualified individual. To recap, raw material receiving is the first line of defense and the gateway into the food manufacturing plant. Ensuring that there's no visible cross-contamination or cross-contact, food defense concerns, inventory or QA documentation issues will give you a good start on making a quality and safe product. You can't make a great product with terrible ingredients.